We can get going here. So my name is Brandon, and I am with DeFiner. So welcome everyone to today's Twitter live stream, which is an AMA. So anyone listening can request to speak and ask any question they have about Entropyfi, about DeFiner, and about Entropyfi and DeFiner's partnership. You may also have questions about general things in DeFi or prediction markets or something related to what we'll be talking about here. And we encourage any question throughout this live stream. To get started here, we'll introduce today's guests and then get going with some questions that I have prepared for our two guests. So again, my name is Brandon, and I'm a content creator with DeFiner. I've been with the company for about 2.5 years. I'm based out of the Twin Cities in Minnesota, USA. And today, we with DeFiner are proud to have Chyna Qu, who is the CEO or COO, of DeFiner, and then a representative from Entropyfi who goes by PPPP. And may refer to him as our friend from Entropyfi throughout this call. But Chyna, do you wanna say hi?
Sure. Well, yeah, thanks for the intro, Brandon. So hi everyone, welcome to DeFiner's Twitter space, and welcome our friend from Entropyfi. So my name is Chyna Qu. I am the co-founder and COO of DeFiner. DeFiner, we're a decentralized lending protocol. So we've been around ever since 2018. We are a couple of initiatives that we currently have. One is our multi-chain initiative. We just crossed over to Polygon, which is why we're launching a series of AMAs with our partnerships. And then secondly, we are launching our next generation product, DeFiner 2.0, which is a permissionless lending protocol. So we'll get into more details about 2.0 later in this AMA as well. But yeah, so welcome everybody.
Thanks, Chyna. And then a friend from Entropyfi, PPPP. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, sure. So I'm PPPP, the product designer at Entropyfi. Basically, I designed the stablecoin lossless prediction games and also the rate-based token prediction games. And besides doing product design, I also work closely with other DeFi projects such as DeFiner and figure out ways to collaborate and create synergy between Entropyfi and our partner project.
Super. Thank you so much for that. And I think regular guests here are familiar with DeFiner, and DeFi has been a space that's gotten so much press, so much attention. So I want to start today with actually Entropyfi, our special guest, for a couple of reasons. One being this is the first time we've had you on, and second, I think what you do is a little less known and it's more specialized. And so could you talk a little bit more about predictive markets? I think when people hear, maybe not people in the crypto space, maybe they're pretty familiar with it, but people, if you stop someone on the street and ask them about prediction markets, they're going to just kind of look at you confused. Do you want to offer just a few sentences about what a prediction market is?
Yep. Prediction market is pretty simple. So let's say you have an opinion about which direction the market is going, right? Whether the orange coin is going to pump up 10% tomorrow or not. Then you can enter the prediction market and put actual stake behind what you predict. So that's from an individual user's perspective. And prediction market can also function as a public goods to the overall market, because if the more people who are predicting certain direction, that means the market has a stronger confidence of a certain outcome. And this is a public good because for an outsider, they can look into this prediction market and see which side has more stake in it, and then they can infer, okay, so probably the market is trying to say tomorrow orange coin is going to go up by 10%.
Thanks for that. What's the difference though between, so it sounds like a prediction market is like betting on who will win the Super Bowl. It's a bet, or a, I don't know if bet is the right word, but you're putting your money on what you believe will happen. And so I think of it like, I think the Rams will beat the Bengals, and so I will put my money on them. Is it comparable to sports betting, or am I denigrating it in some way by doing that?
I think the generalized prediction market, I think sports betting is one form of prediction market.
Okay.
But the prediction market we are building here at Entropyfi is different from sports betting, because our ultimate goal is trying to build Entropyfi as almost like an oracle for those exotic events and exotic asset prices. So that's our long-term goal of Entropyfi.
So you'll provide information for the markets for a protocol as an oracle?
Yes, that is correct. That's the long-term vision of Entropyfi.
Yeah, that might be going into the weeds a little bit for this call, but that's fascinating, because I would think that you would use oracles for information, but you yourself could become an oracle providing information, I suppose, once the outcomes are determined. Or I suppose like the line, a sports betting line, like who's being favored, and you can provide that information to other platforms, like which prediction is being bet on more, whether it's going up or down or whatever. Am I on the right track with that?
Yeah, I think it's great you brought up the word oracle. The word oracle itself, I think, is very loosely defined here. So at Entropyfi, we do use oracle to retrieve the price at the settlement. But Entropyfi itself can become an oracle during the intermission where the event, where we don't know the result of the event yet, right? So oracle, like, we use oracle, but ourselves can also be oracle for other protocols. I will use another example, futures contract. So futures contract, they have a settlement price. So that price is already known, but while we're still, let's say 1 or 2 months until the expiry, the trading price of that futures contract can fluctuate. So this is why I think it makes sense to say we are an oracle, but we also use oracle services.
One more question about this, and then we'll move on. But what's the difference between a prediction market and, say, someone shorting or longing an asset?
Yep. I think one of the biggest difference is that in prediction market, the choices, the decisions that the users they make, the way they express their views, is more simplified than if they're shorting it or if they're using leverage trading. Because in a prediction market, only way for users to express is either yes or no. And this can actually help us to get as many users as possible, and we can get as much data as possible. So this is why it can function as an oracle, versus in shorting or leverage trading market, margin trading market, the users, they have to consider lots of moving parts, right? Where do I entry? What leverage? How much leverage should I use? Where's my stop loss, and where's my take profit?
Right.
So there are lots of moving parts for users to consider.
Yeah, prediction market is just cleaner. It's just simpler. Yes?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also curious then about laws around that. We don't have to get into that right now. That's probably another conversation, but is this considered betting? Is this considered just an investment or whatever? But let's leave that, and we'll go to Chyna. Chyna, listeners here are I'm sure familiar with DeFiner, but for those who are new to this call, perhaps from who are listening in because they're more familiar with Entropyfi. Can you give a quick rundown of DeFiner?
Sure. Yeah, so DeFiner stands for Decentralized Finance Innovator. So we're a DeFi lending protocol. And currently, like I mentioned, we're cross-chained. We crossed over to OEC. That was our first initiative. And then the second one is on Polygon. We're actually launching a staking program on Polygon as well. So stay tuned. We'll be able to see higher APR during the time frame. So the staking program started yesterday, but it lasted for about 2 to 3 weeks. And yeah, so after Polygon, we're also going to cross over to other chains such as BSC, Harmonies, and Near as well.
Yeah, there's so much news coming out of DeFiner. And I don't just say that because I'm the content creator and I get, well, I guess I might say it as the content creator because I see all the news that's coming out of DeFiner firsthand. How's it been going so far with the Polygon launch? I mean, this is a brand new development, and it's that that right there is a very exciting thing. But we're here to talk about something else. But just real quick, how's the Polygon launch going?
I think so far it's going really great. So we've been launched for 2-3 days now. We have a little bit over $500,000 in the deposit market. So yeah, I think things are going pretty smooth.
And then you also mentioned a moment ago about the staking that will open up on the Polygon chain on the DeFiner platform. So there'll be enhanced interest rates, bonus interest rate rewards for Fin token for those who deposit on Polygon on DeFiner here.
Yeah. So right now I'm looking at it. The rate it's pretty good for USDT. It's about 52%. For Matic is 35%. Yeah, and for Quick token is a little bit 200% actually. USDC it's 100%. So it's a very good rate right now.
Yeah, very good. Okay, great. So DeFiner is in DeFi. Entropyfi is over in the prediction market. They're different. They're different. Much different areas of crypto. So, our friend from Entropyfi, PPPP, would you explain what does Entropyfi and DeFiner, how are they collaborating?
Yep, sure. I guess before that, I have to explain what Entropyfi is. So Entropyfi is a lossless derivative protocol.
Could you repeat that?
And
Is a what?
It's a lossless derivatives protocol.
Lossless.
Yep, lossless. So the way we're able to offer this lossless function to users is that we take users' deposit and we put it in some money market to generate yield.
Yeah.
And we use the yield to conduct all the derivatives trade. So that's why it's a lossless protocol, because even if anything that happens in the derivative side, the users, they can still retrieve their original deposit because their original deposits are just depositing in a money market to generate yield. And that's where DeFiner comes in. DeFiner as a money market can generate yield for users' deposit. And that's also why I think this is a great synergy, because if Entropyfi does acquire lots of users and acquire a lot of TVL, then eventually we're also depositing that TVL to DeFiner. So that's also helping DeFiner to grow. So I think there's a really great synergy here between the two protocols.
So simply put, Entropyfi receives deposits from people who are betting on the outcome of a token's value, a predictive market. And you collect this money, and then you need to put this money somewhere. So one of those places is a place like DeFiner. Yes?
I would say I would still like use the word prediction market. So users they will deposit their assets and trying to enter this prediction market, express their view. And meanwhile, Entropyfi is depositing the users' deposit into DeFiner to generate interest. And the interest it will be used to incentivize whoever made the correct prediction. So that's exactly how information market should function. We should reward those who made correct predictions for supplying the correct information to market.
And do I have this understanding correctly where it's not the deposit itself that gets used to determine the payout on a predictive market, but the yield that that deposit generates, so that if someone, let's say I enter a predictive market for the price of Bitcoin and I think it's going to be 50,000, right now it's like 47 or something. Let's say I think it's going to be 50,000 by, I don't know, April 15th or something. Then I can put a stable coin, I guess, use some kind of cryptocurrency as my bet or as my investment in that prediction. But it's the yield that's generated from that deposit that is what's paid out, so that I can always maybe just be a little more clear on that, because I want to understand this. When I think I can make a bet or make a prediction on the outcome of something like a sporting event, if I think the Rams are going to beat the Bengals and the Bengals win, I lose all my money. And now you're saying if I predict wrong on Bitcoin's price, this is lossless, so I can still get my money back even if I predict it wrong?
Yep, that is correct. Even if you predicted wrong, you are just going to forego the interest that's been generated on your deposit. The reason we built this is because in the traditional prediction market, they don't function too well because the penalty is too severe. Participants going to lose their entire stake. So that's served as a deterrent. Many users who are not very confident in their prediction skills, they don't participate in the market, and the market doesn't have enough sample size, and then the market just fail to become an oracle, to become a reliable oracle, because the entire oracle idea relies on the wisdom of the crowd. But if the crowd is not here, well, then the oracle just doesn't function. And that's why Entropyfi we built this lossless market. So we want to increase this sample size. We want to encourage as many people to use our protocol as possible, because in the very worst case, all they're sacrificing is just the interest generated on their original deposit.
Does that limit the upside? Because all you're rewarding is yield.
Yep.
Does that limit then the amount to be won if you predict correctly? Because you're only rewarding the yield. So if the yield is, I don't know, 25%, so you're not going to be able to double your money on a correct prediction. You're going to get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, but you're not going to be able to double it. Am I thinking on the right track there?
I think there is obviously the return will be lower than leverage trading because the risk is also low. But it's still possible to double because we have this automatic compounding feature, right? Let's say if I get really lucky, I predict that for the entire year, that the orange coin price will always go up. Well, then what happens is that my reward is going to be compounded by 52 times, and that's a very large number.
I see.
And besides compounding, another thing is that it depends on the ratio, the proportion of the users on either side. If 99% of the users is super bearish, they think the market is going down, bear market is coming. But if you predict otherwise, if you think you have better information than all of the other 99%, and you say, okay, the market will definitely go up, then what will happen is that 99% on their deposit, the interest that's generated on their deposit will be used to compensate you. And that's also going to push up the yield. So which means the more exotic information that you have, the higher potential reward you can earn. And that's also reflecting on the name, Entropyfi, because entropy is really just information. And what is information? Information is unexpected information, unexpected data coming
Mm-hmm.
from the market.
Okay, last question, then I'll switch gears over to China. When you do make a correct prediction, are you paid in the token you deposited, or do you get the ERP Entropyfi token?
So when you make the correct prediction, you'll get the original deposit or in the original token you deposit. So if I deposit USDC, the yield will come in the form of USDC. And if I make the correct prediction, my rewards are also coming in the form of USDC.
Wow. Sounds like a wonderful product. How is it? When did you launch?
We launched in November of last year on Polygon network,
Mm-hmm.
and right now we're expanding to other networks.
And how has it been? You've been launched for about 4 months or so, 4 or 5 months.
Yep.
How are things going?
Yep, I would say it's been going great because we actually look at the average players of Poco, and we found out most of our players are small ticket accounts. So we actually don't have lots of wealth, and I think that's a good thing because our intended target audience are those new users who doesn't have a very high risk tolerance,
Mhm.
which means we do have this product market fit.
Wow. All right, let's go over to and thank you for all that. That was really enlightening. I'm kind of just processing all that information. I'm not super familiar with predictive markets, so I'm interested. I have heard of other platforms that are in the similar space as yours, but maybe we can talk about that in a little bit. Right now, China, can you talk about your side of things as far as so PPPP said that Entropyfi can utilize DeFiner because they have a place to put their deposits and have those deposits generate yield through a platform like DeFiner. Is this the first predictive market? Is this the first platform? Is this the first institution to have used DeFiner for this purpose? Is this a big part of DeFiner's future?
Well, yeah. So on the predictive market side, yeah, this is the first integration that we have with the predictive market.
Mm-hmm.
I think a platform like DeFiner, we certainly have different usage can be used in different ways. One of the major way that we can integrate with other project is after we launch DeFiner 2.0, which is our permissionless lending protocol for those who are not familiar. So what we can do is just partnering up with different projects, and projects and open a lending pool with DeFiner, and then it can benefit both their tokens and the DeFiner Fin tokens as well.
Can you comment on other institutions that have used DeFiner as a place to earn yield on their assets?
Yeah, so from official partnership side, we don't have a institution that does that, but based on looking at the data from DeFiner, we do see there are larger fund, but just not from a official partnership perspective.
Oh, okay. So there could be institutions depositing on DeFiner, but it's anonymous?
Yes.
I see. Okay. Say a little bit more about DeFiner 2.0. You went over that there. Would you go into with just a little bit more detail? Like from what I understand, this is a pretty groundbreaking development in even the whole DeFi space. What makes DeFiner 2.0 so special?
Right. So the idea is this. Like right now, if you look at major lending protocols like Compound and Nave, or even us right now, we only support a certain number of assets. Like there are 30 in total. These are a little bit a bigger tokens, and have more liquidities. But what we're trying to do is that we kind of wanted to capture the long tail assets, because if you look at the coin market cap, there are over 10,000 tokens out there, but they don't have a lending market. So the permissionless part comes to it's just like Uniswap, right? So anybody can go to Uniswap and open a trading pair. The idea is that anybody can come to DeFiner and open their own lending pool. Projects can open their pools, or even you, Brandon, like if you have other tokens, you can just open a pool and lend it out. It's configurable, so you can configure all the factors, such as loan to collateral ratios, the risk control factors, and choose your own oracles as well. So yeah, it's a very big project, and we will be breaking it down into different phases. Phase one will be just the functionalities of creating the separate pools, the lending pools, what we call it, the child pool creation. So this product will be it's on the horizon, so most likely we'll launch it right around summertime.
Okay, you said child pool?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure I heard that right. And will it launch also, like right now, DeFiner is opening up new chains for its platform. Will DeFiner 2.0 be the same way, where it starts on maybe Ethereum and then goes on to other chains?
Yes, so 2.0 will also be a multi-chain. Yeah, it will be starting off from Ethereum, and then whatever chain that we're integrating, we will have it available on there.
So perhaps another way that DeFiner and Entropyfi could partner is by, or at least maybe not even formally partnering, but just you or I could take Entropyfi tokens, ERP, and create a lending pool on DeFiner with those tokens?
Yeah. So that's step 2 of the partnership.
Oh, so that's already like in the talks. That's planning to happen.
Right.
Oh, super. Okay. PPPP. I researched Entropyfi a little before we got on this call, and I did see something about staking. So you want to talk about that function that's also available on your platform?
Yep, sure. So now we partner with Vault Inc. for our staking function, and
With
we offer
I'm sorry, with who? Who do you partner?
with Vault Inc. We
Oh,
have
yeah.
we have Medium articles on how to stake with Vault Inc.
Yep.
And what's special with Vault Inc. is that they really made the VE mechanism easier for all the projects. So now users, they can stake their ERP and choose whether they want the flexible staking, which means they can withdraw it anytime, or if they want to stake their ERP and lock their ERP for up to 52 weeks. And if they pick the latter option, then what will happen is that they can earn extra reward comparing to this who choose the flexible staking. And what the staking would do for users is that, although this is planning, but in the future, we might drop special NFTs or special badges to users who stake for a longer period of time. So that's ERP staking. Yep.
Got it. Chyna, did I read something about DeFiner NFTs?
Yeah, so that is our special NFT for our Polygon launch. So for participating in AMA like this, users will be qualified for a NFT airdrop.
I see, on the Polygon chain.
Right.
Okay. Can you say a little bit about what these NFTs are? Or are they a surprise?
So we have the design ready. We haven't officially launched it yet. But
Okay.
I like it. It's really cool. But yeah, it has the DeFiner fin shark on it, and
Okay.
yeah, it says DeFiner Polygon. So it's a special one that we did just for Polygon, and will
Oh,
be airdrop
wonderful.
to our users.
Okay, great. Well, let's turn it back to our listeners, and I'll just remind everyone here that if you have a question for China, for PPPP with Entropyfi, whether it's about predictive markets and what Entropyfi does, or whether it's about DeFi and what DeFiner does, or if you have a question for them personally, please ask. Simply request to speak, and then we will have you ask any question that you might have about what they do, about this industry, about how to deposit, about which chains they're on. I'm sure there's some questions out there, so please feel free to ask at any time. This is an AMA. This is really for you. So take advantage if you have a question on your mind. Otherwise, we'll keep talking here for a few more minutes before we wrap up. What else, PPPP, would you say to newcomers to your space? Well, here's a specific question. So I have heard about predictive markets and betting in crypto for a while, and I've heard of larger platforms like Augur and Gnosis. Um, can you comment on how Entropyfi compares to them?
Yep, sure. I mean, I really appreciate these protocols to take the first to build the very first prediction markets.
Mhm.
But I want to present Amplify as different from those prediction market because our ultimate focus is really to build Amplify as a oracle, as an information oracle, rather than purely focus on providing the best uh, prediction market. I mean, like we are building the best prediction market, but like instead of focusing on prediction part, we want to focusing on what are the downstream tasks and downstream protocols that we can support. So imagine in the future, Entropyfi builds up this oracle for valuation of NFTs, right? Then what we can offer is that we can offer the data to downstream applications, for example, NFT lending protocols or NFT options protocols. And actually, right now there are many other NFT-fi projects out there, and they're already experimenting with different ways to value an NFT, right? So this is the long-term vision I think Entropyfi will become. So instead of becoming just a prediction market, Entropyfi will become an oracle for those very hard, very difficult to price assets.
And a platform like Augur that's been around I remember Augur in the 2017 market cycle.
Yep.
What they're not entering that Oracle space like Entropyfi is.
I think their original vision is also becoming an information market.
Mm-hmm.
While designing Entropy, I actually looked into their white paper and their original vision. And I think one of the ways that potentially we can improve on top of that is adding this lossless feature, which is why we did add this lossless feature.
I see.
This lossless feature is really critical for bringing as many users as possible to create that critical mass for this all information oracle to function. Without the losses mechanism, there wouldn't be a lot of users who want to join.
Mm-hmm. Can you comment on what kind of press, attention, how many users you have? Because it seems like this lossless feature, this new technology, or this new feature anyway, is pretty remarkable. I've never heard of it before. Has it gotten a lot of attention?
Yep. It got lots of attention from the crypto native community,
Uh-huh.
especially our past partners. In past, we partner with our Vesk, and we also partner
With who?
with
I'm sorry, with who?
with Vesk, VESQ.
Oh,
And
Vesk.
also Yep, and we also partner with protocols such as FarmBridge and Arigochi. And based on the feedback we receive from these communities, they really like the idea that you can express your view on the market, receive some reward if you're correct, but meanwhile doesn't have to lose everything if your view turns out to be incorrect.
Yeah, I mean, I could see diving down the rabbit hole and just becoming a big hardcore Entropyfi user because of the minimal downside. So yeah, I mean that's an intriguing concept, and I'm real glad that you're here and explaining this to us. What about I live in the US, and it's kind of the elephant in the room, so to speak. It's the big thing that we might not talk about, but it's always there, and that's to do with regulation. Can I go on Entropyfi from the US, or am I restricted?
So we are working on the restricting access from the U.S. I mean, we do want to respect all the applicable laws and regulations. Yep.
So you said you're working on restricting US users or unrestricting
Yep.
them? How did you say that?
We are working on restricting access from the U.S.
So soon US residents will not be able to use Entropyfi.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's kind of a sad reality. There should be a whole podcast on that topic, I think, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. Where is Entropyfi headquartered?
We are a distributor team located across the world. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. Well, is there another speaker here that's looking to talk? Peace, did you have a question?
Yes. I have a question like about entropy of Phi. Like their code is like no not open source. It's like closed source. Like no, nobody can access the GitHub's code of entropy Phi. So why it means like no closed and not open source? Because we are means, like, no, decentralized almost like platform. So why it's not open source? That's my question.
Thank you. PPPP?
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry, my signal got cut off. Could you rephrase that question, Brandon?
Oh, yeah, he asked basically why your code isn't open source.
I believe our code is indeed open source. We did verify our contract on Polygon Scan, and we also publicize our source code on GitHub. Yeah, I'm actually curious, like where did you look into our code?
Peace, do you wanna respond?
Yes. Especially like on your website, there is no misleading link of GitHub link. So if you can add that link, no, it will be very beneficial.
Yes, we can add that, but just let me take a look real quick because I do remember. Yeah, we recently did a update to our landing page. Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, we recently updated the landing page. So it used to be a GitHub link there, and I'm going to ask our devs to add that GitHub link to our new landing page. And by the way, if you're in the audience and you haven't checked into Entropyfi's landing page recently, go take a look. We took a new artistic direction for our landing page.
Okay, thank you. Peace, did he answer your question?
Yes. Completely answered my question, and I will definitely check out.
All right, wonderful. Thank you for answering that, PPPP. Crypto Ken.
Hey, this might be kind of a stupid question. Feel free to take or not take it. But I was hoping to. It's a two-part question. I was hoping to understand why, access in the U.S. needs to be restricted. Is it like an online? I mean, Entropyfi is not a gambling place. It's a lossless prediction market, and I love that it's a lossless prediction market and it minimizes the downside. But is it those gambling restrictions that make it so that you have to restrict access to the US? And, you know, if so, is there a way to like only let US users bet on certain things to get around it? Like maybe instead of betting on the price of, you know, a certain coin, like what are the things that you can bet on Entropyfi? And are we going, is there plans to expand it to like, you know, sports games? Is it just going to be like coin prices? Is it going to be, you know, the weather? Or like, what are some of the games you guys are planning to make? And will some of those games maybe be available in the US down the road when the regulations are better understood?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I think for that front, it's really right now we're not really. It's not. There's no clear guidelines and rules from regulators. So very unfortunately, we have to institute this blanket ban. But definitely in the future, if the regulation does clear up a little bit, and then we can reopen this. Then we can reopen this. Then we can remove these restrictions. And another direction, maybe I think the overall Entropyfi community, because the project is distributed project, can look into is how liquidity structure their service, right? So liquidity itself, smart contracts deployed, totally decentralized, and their front end is also decentralized. So that might be another direction Entropyfi can take in the future, decentralizing the front end. Anyone can run a Entropyfi front end.
Well, thank you. That's a good, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for your question. Appreciate that. And personally, I appreciate that as an American myself. Is it only the US where you have that blanket ban, as you put it, or are there other countries that you have to also cut off?
Yep, very good question. Very unfortunate. We also have to cut off users from other countries. Um, for example, China, Singapore, Canada, and
Oh,
some of the European countries where basically we're getting this list of countries from our legal counsel and also from other similar prediction market protocols as well.
okay. Yeah, the inevitable legalese and red tape to go through when you become established, but it means you're arriving. So that's just part of growing. Any other questions from listeners? Okay. Any last comments from our two guests today? Chyna, do you want to say goodbye and maybe wrap it up a little, or do you have anything else to add? Well, we'll go over to PPPP. Anything you'd like to leave listeners with?
Yeah, sure. I just have to say, like, we really appreciate this opportunity to collaborate with DeFiner. We have been in contact with DeFiner for quite a while right now, and we're happy to see that collaboration is finally coming through, and we're going to actually deploy and integrate with DeFiner in the very near future.
Well, as a content creator with DeFiner, as a team member here, I can speak for the team and say we're very excited to be working with you as well. Chyna, are you there? Or are you still on a bit? Oh, there we are. Yeah, go ahead, Chyna.
Yeah.
You want to say a few things to wrap us up here?
Yeah, sure. No, we're very excited about the partnership as well. And yes, we will, like I mentioned at the beginning, you know, like with the launch of DeFiner 2.0, we will bring on more partner projects. We'll have more flexibility too.
All right. And when can people look for the developments of DeFiner 2.0? You said later this summer?
Right. So the first phase of the product will be launched so this summer, and then second there will be a second phase which is enabling configuration. So that will be later down this year as well. So I would say stay tuned to our community, Telegram, Discord, and Twitter. So we'll be launching. If we have news, will be the community will be the first one to tell.
Okay. And And then the last thing is for listeners to stay tuned for new AMAs and new events. Do we have another AMA planned, scheduled yet with DeFiner?
Yeah.
And
So the next one will be with Crystal Finance. So that will be later this week.
okay, stay tuned for that. And then we've got some in-person events coming up. Yes.
Right. So we will be in Miami for Bitcoin Miami. We're planning offline events. There will be a couple that DeFiner will be hosting. So we're still finalizing the details, but we'll be posting something to the community once we have the details.
Super. So if you're at Bitcoin Miami, look for us there. I'll be there myself as well. And if not, then look for us at other AMAs and other showing up elsewhere online. I think then that about does it.
Sorry, I just has a random comment.
Go ahead,
For
please.
Brandon, yes. Brandon, can you open your message message box on your Twitter profile?
Say that one more time, please.
Yes, can you open your DM? DM is message box on your Twitter profile.
Can I open my DMs on Twitter?
Yes, correct.
You mean for DeFiner or for me personally?
For your profile, for your personal emails.
I assumed it was open, but yeah, I can open that up here. I'll do that right after the call.
Yes, absolutely. Just afterwards, if I had some question, I can you can directly contact. I would say uh, if any have doubt
Yeah, absolutely. I have no problem with that. And I remember your question had to do with Entropyfi. So Entropyfi, what's the way that people can get a hold of you? You personally or the project?
They can DM Entropyfi because our DM is open. So yeah, feel free to shoot your questions there.
Super. Okay, great. Well, thanks everyone for attending today, and we look forward to the next time. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.